Tully heats up because um, I want to know why they've done this. Because she, and after she knows exactly why they're trying to do it, which is why she goes and tells Rita straight away to see if she can avoid it and to see if she can get Sandra back. So it's just mainly about money and about how negatively they might be thinking at this point, both men and women, and also the views um, of um, Mr. Hopkins and Barbara, who says the line, "Don't let the bastards grind you down," which is repeated quite a lot, and I think that obviously refers to people like Mr. Hopkins and Tooley, because they're the ones that are causing this. They're making it difficult for everyone, like living wise. Um, so yeah, it's mainly about those two people and just about money and kind of tears in relationships, I suppose. How do you feel during the song? Plot how the emotions change on your lyrics. Well, I think the women in general, like the factory girls, feel probably quite defeated, and some of them may not see the point of it anymore, because then like the government isn't budging and the Ford company isn't letting them have equal pay. So I think everyone feels negatively about the whole situation, and obviously the men feel quite angry. And for my character Lisa, obviously my first scene in Storm Clouds is in the meal, and um, at first I'm quite curious because Mr. Hopkins is the first to say that they've offered the Dolly Bird, which who's Sandra, a forged promotion contract, and she's curious, and once she knows how how and why they've done this, she gets angry because they're not supporting the woman at all. But she's obviously not surprised because it's Mr. Hopkins and Tooley, who is quite sexist. Um, and then she gets really angry and reminds Tooley of what happened during the previous strike, and she states the figures that 5 strikers were shot dead and about 60 had shotgun wounds. So she gets angry that he doesn't recall it, and she wants to remind him to make kind of him and kind of the company feel guilty. Um, and I don't think she's defeated like the other girls at this point, because she's so optimistic that this will work, and believes that Rita can pull it back, just like, you know, historical figures that she's researched about during her time at university, such as Martin Luther King and like Rosa Parks. She believes that Rita can be one of them, and that's why she's so determined. So straight away, she's goes to Rita's house to address her what's happening and how they've offered Sandra Ford's promotion contract, and she's telling them why they're doing it and how you should pull it back, which is why I tell her the details of the Cortina launching. And I think the song in general is of a mellow, kind of depressing tone that obviously Storm Clouds is repeated kind of after each scene in the song. And as I've said before, Don't Let the Bastards said is used repeatedly, repetitively, and which obviously referring to Tully and Miss Hopkins, and yeah, and I think just everyone is deflated and negative about the whole situation, which makes it tricky for everyone to get along, and it highlights the arguments as well. So everyone's very agitated, which turns into arguments between each other, and this doesn't help with the solidarity that the women need to carry on, and they've lost their determination, and because of the lack of money they have, and they realise that the company isn't budging on equal pay. What are the inner slash outer feelings of the character in the song? Well, for Lisa, I think her inner feelings are surprised, because the way I interpret the line "and she accepted" is kind of, she's surprised at the fact that a woman in the factory has accepted this new position so easily, and she obviously is aware that she's clever enough to know that if the women know that one person has given in, then it might make them think, well, there's no point in carrying on, and I may as well just go back to work. So she's surprised, and then she turns angry because she has to remind Thule of how horrid and inconsiderate the Ford company was the last time people had the strike. And she's also determined and remains optimistic, because she, as soon as she finds out, she runs and tells Rita, which shows that she's really loyal to Rita, because she knows that she's kind of the head of this whole rebellion. And so she tells her straight away, because she knows she has faith in Rita that she can put a stop to it, and she can try and win Sandra back. What facial expressions will you use to show what your characters are thinking or feeling in the song? I think during the meal, I think I'll feel quite uncomfortable because of the Swiss dish remarks, and quite bored at the start, and then suddenly become really interested when she finds out what the meaning the dolly bird means, which obviously means Sandra, and so she kind of jumps in and just asks loads of questions so she can gather up the information and tell Rita. So I think I'd probably kind of roll my eyes at the start and kind of look up in every direction other than the table and the people who I'm with, and then suddenly like become really interested in the conversation and look left and right to like find the answers, as if like she really wants to know as soon as possible so she can go and tell Rita. And then when Thule says that the past is history, she reminds him how serious that time was, and how he can't just kind of almost forget and brush it under the carpet. And so I'll try and narrow my eyebrows and kind of like clench, and then like narrow my eyebrows and kind of go closer, and yeah. And then what gestures will you use to show what your character's thinking or feeling in the song? Well, when I'm angry with Thule, I think I might like maybe clench my fists at on the table, but still kind of keep that high kind of straight posture, so that which shows that she's got good self-control even when she's really annoyed at them both, because of what they've decided between them and how happy they are about it. And she just gets more and more annoyed, especially when Thule talks about breaking the woman's will, Um, and so I get really angry, and then when I'm talking to Rita, I kind of run in a rush, but still keeping the posture, and kind of like maybe fiddle with my hands because I'm not really sure what Rita's going to do, because I know she's going to panic and she might look negatively at the situation. So I kind of like um force all my words out as quickly as possible, so that we can like try and stop the situation, um keep the girls reunited.